Right now, somewhere, someone is sitting with your name in their chest. Not as a passing thought, not as something that drifts through and then moves on to whatever else occupies a normal day, as a weight, a presence. The specific kind of missing that does not announce itself loudly, but that sits underneath everything else a person is doing, coloring the texture of their entire day without them being able to fully set it aside. Today is one of those days for them, and I want to walk you through what this missing actually looks like, what is causing it to be so present today specifically, and what it might mean for what comes next. Because this is not a vague, generic message about someone somewhere thinking of you. This has specificity to it, a particular person, a particular kind of ache, and a particular reason why today, of all days, it has become too much to simply carry quietly. Stay with me, Virgo. This one is tender, and I want to honor that tenderness throughout. Let me start by describing the quality of this person's heartbreak, because I think understanding its texture matters before we go any further. This is not the heartbreak of someone who lost something they never really had. It is not the ache of unrequited longing for a person who was never actually close to them. This is the heartbreak of loss, of something real that existed, that mattered, that occupied genuine space in this person's life, and that is no longer present in the way it used to be. Whether this means a relationship that ended, a connection that has gone quiet, or simply a closeness that has faded due to distance or circumstance, the underlying experience is the same. Something was here, and now there is an absence where that something used to be. And today, that absence is making itself known with more force than usual. I want to speak to why today specifically carries this weight, because I am feeling something about timing that I think is significant. There are certain kinds of days that tend to amplify the experience of missing someone. Sometimes it is an anniversary, a date that carries meaning related to your shared history, even if this person has not consciously registered the date as significant. Sometimes it is simply an ordinary day that happens to contain a trigger, a piece of music, a smell, a place that was once associated with you, a small, unremarkable moment that suddenly is not unremarkable at all because it carries your presence within it. For this person, today has contained one of these triggers. Something small, something that on any other day might have passed without much notice, has landed differently. And in landing differently, it has opened up the floodgate that this person has been managing day to day with reasonable success. Today, the management is not working as well as it usually does. Let me speak to what this person has been doing with their missing of you, because I think it is important to understand the contrast between how they usually handle this and what is happening today. Most days, this person functions, they go about their life, they show up for work, for responsibilities, for the people around them, and from the outside, nothing about their behavior suggests that anything is amiss. The missing exists, but it exists in the background, manageable, contained within the structure of a normal day that has enough other things happening in it to keep the missing from becoming overwhelming. This containment is not the same as not caring. I want to be clear about that. It is simply how most people get through life when they are carrying something painful. They build a structure around their days that gives the pain somewhere to exist without it taking over everything. Today, something has disrupted that structure. The trigger I mentioned, whatever specific form it took, has broken through the containment. And what is underneath the containment, the actual depth of what this person feels when it comes to you, is more present today than it usually allows itself to be. I want to describe what this person is actually doing right now in this moment, because I am feeling it with some specificity. There is a stillness to them today, a pulling back from the normal rhythm of their day, even if only slightly, even if only in ways that the people around them might not fully notice. A few extra moments spent staring at nothing in particular. A response to something someone said that came a beat slower than usual, because part of their attention was somewhere else. And in those still moments, what is present is you. Not in a vague, abstract sense, but specifically memories. The particular quality of being around you that this person has not found anywhere else since, the sound of your voice, perhaps, replaying in a way that feels almost too real for a memory, a specific moment between you, one that might have seemed unremarkable when it happened, that today carries a weight it did not carry at the time. This person is, in this moment, missing you in the fullest sense of that word. Not just noting your absence, but feeling it, feeling the specific shape of the gap that your absence has left. Does this feel like it connects to someone specific for you, Virgo? Has a name or a face come to mind as you have been listening? Let me know in the comments. I want to know who this might be for you. I want to speak to what this person wishes they could do right now, because I feel there is a gap between what they are feeling and what they are allowing themselves to act on. Part of them wants to reach out, to send a message, to make a call, to do something that would close the distance, even briefly, between the missing they are feeling and the actual presence of you. This impulse is real. It is sitting right there, close to the surface, today more than most days, but there is something holding them back. For some of you, this is uncertainty about how it would be received, whether reaching out after whatever has created the current distance between you would be welcome, or whether it would feel like an intrusion, an unwelcome reopening of something that has been closed for good reason. For others, this is about pride or about the specific awkwardness of not knowing what to say after time has passed. The longer the silence has gone on, the harder it can feel to break it, because breaking it requires acknowledging the silence itself, and that acknowledgement can feel like its own kind of vulnerability. And for some of you, this is about timing in a different sense. This person may feel that today, in this raw, missing you state, is not the right state to be reaching out from. That what they would say right now would be too much, too unfiltered, too revealing of exactly how much they are feeling. And so they hold back, waiting for a calmer moment, even though the calmer moment often means the impulse fades back into the background before anything is said. I want to speak to what this missing reveals, because I think it is significant beyond simply being a sad feeling this person is having today. The fact that this person can still be moved this deeply, that something small can still break through their usual containment and bring the full weight of missing you to the surface, tells you something important. Time has not erased this. Distance has not erased this. Whatever has changed about the circumstances between you, what this person feels has not simply faded into something manageable and forgotten. It is still there, present, real, capable of being activated by something as small as a song or a smell or a passing moment that reminds them of you. This is not nothing. People do not feel this way about connections that did not matter. The depth of what is being felt today is a direct reflection of the depth of what existed between you. And depth like that does not simply disappear because time has passed or because circumstances have changed. Inhale. I want to speak to you now, Virgo, about how this information might land for you, because I recognize that hearing someone is missing, you can bring up complicated feelings depending on where you are in relation to this connection. If this connection ended in a way that you have made peace with, that you genuinely feel is in the past, hearing that this person is missing you today might not change anything about your own path forward, and that is completely valid. Their feelings do not create an obligation for you to feel anything in particular or to do anything in particular in response. But I also want to acknowledge that for some of you, this reading might be landing differently because you too have moments, days where something small breaks through your own containment and brings this person back into sharp focus. Days where you too feel the specific weight of an absence that has not fully resolved itself, even with time. If that is true for you, I want you to know that what you feel is valid too. The mutuality of missing someone does not necessarily mean anything, has to change, but it does mean that what existed between you was real on both sides. That the connection was not one-sided, was not something you experienced more intensely than they did. It was, and in some ways still is, shared. I want to speak to what might happen from here because I feel there is movement possible, even if it is gentle and not immediate. If this person's missing of you continues to break through their usual containment, if today is not an isolated incident but part of a pattern that has been building, there is a real possibility that the impulse to reach out eventually wins over the hesitation that has been holding it back. Not necessarily today, not necessarily in a dramatic way, but at some point, in some form, this missing may find its way into contact. If that happens, how you respond is entirely up to you. You are not obligated to respond in any particular way simply because someone has reached out after a period of distance. But you also do not have to assume the worst about what such contact would mean. Sometimes people reach out simply because they need to acknowledge something, to say something that has been sitting unsaid without any larger agenda beyond that acknowledgement itself. As I bring this reading toward its close, I want to leave you with something about what this all means, regardless of what happens next. You were, and in some ways still are, significant to someone. Significant enough that your absence creates a felt presence in their life. Significant enough that ordinary days can suddenly become days where missing you takes over, even when this person has built their entire life around managing without you. This significance is not dependent on what happens between you going forward. It exists as a fact about what was shared, about the depth of the connection that existed, regardless of its current status. And that fact is worth something, even on its own. Even if nothing else changes, you mattered. You still matter to this person in a way that today has made undeniable, at least within the privacy of their own experience. Whatever you do with that knowledge is yours to decide, but the knowledge itself, I think, is worth having. If this reading touched something in you today, please share it with a Virgo who needs to hear this. And leave me a comment below. Tell me how this landed. Tell me if someone came to mind and what it feels like to consider that they might be missing you in this way today, right now. I read every single word you share. Every story matters to me and I carry your energy with care long after this video ends. Until next time, Virgo, what was real does not simply disappear. It just waits, sometimes quietly, for the right moment to be felt again.